Hey everybody, Randy Reviews It here. This week we're going to be talking about TCRT targets. TCRT targets are a self-healing target that, compared to like Infinity and things like that, they're a little newer to the market. They have a few different features. I'm going to get into the pros and cons of each and let you decide whether or not there's a use case there for you. If there is, then by all means. If there isn't, no, I got no skin in the game. I'm not an affiliate with any target company. No one's ever sent me free targets or anything like that. So, let's talk about this. So, TCRT targets are a self-healing target, and I found out about them about 2 years ago at the IV 8888 shoot. So I was there kind of complaining about my customer service experience that I've been having with Infinity targets at the time. So at the time, Infinity targets botched some of my shipping. It took exponentially longer than it was supposed to. I reached out to customer service. They were not very friendly. Let's just say that. I did a video on it. You can go back to it. But I was kind of venting about this, and Kurt from TCRT Targets approached me and said, "Hey, we got this thing coming out, and it's going to take a lot more rounds than the infinite defense targets, and it's lighter, and it's cheaper." I was like, "Okay, you have my interest." So took a little bit, I think, for them to get their website up and running, but once they did, I was able to reach out or basically purchase a target off their site. Let's say it that way. And over the course of like the last year and a half or so, I've been using it a lot at the range. So at first, I was using it kind of like a USPSA target. It has markers on it, just like the Infinite Defense target, the USPSA one. It has markers on it of A's, B's, C, or like all those zones on it. Looks the same. It's a full sheet. You can hang it up, everything like that. So I was using it, and the first thing I ran into that is different from the Infinite Defense targets is that the TCRT does not really have deep cutouts for the different zones. So once you spray paint over things, it does just start looking like a giant rectangle to you. Like you would have to stencil things out and use two different colors of spray paint if you really wanted to like see the zones, like they're not cut out. Whereas Infinite Defense does a really good job of keeping deep grooves in there, as well as like offsetting the rubber as black. So one of the things I ran into is once I spray painted the TCRT, I couldn't tell where the zones were. So I had to like start marking things a little bit different, and then I actually started using it a bit different. So Infinite Defense does a better job of marking the zones on the USPSA, and they're going to stay, long after you spray paint them. What the TCRT was a little bit better at is I actually started sticking little like 4-inch C-in shoots. So like a dot training thing, I put, like 9 of them on the sheet. And then with a pistol, I could do, dot training, target transitions, trying to get smaller groups, that sort of thing. So because the rubber is less coarse and it's smoother on the TCRT, things like stickers fit to it much, much easier with things. It's a thinner rubber overall. Or I'm saying rubber because I don't know the exact chemical compound of it, whether it's silicone or something kind of offshoot. But it's thinner than the Infinite Defense target. It's lighter than the Infinite Defense target. And it can absolutely take more rounds than the Infinite Defense target. So with this TCRT target, I got roughly above 5,000 rounds, I believe, on it in the last year and a half with this target. And it looks exponentially better than the Infinite Defense one at the same rounds. Like there was big chunks coming out of my Infinite Defense one, not too far in because I was shooting pretty tight groups. The infinite defense one, you either want to be shooting where you're not hitting in the same spot a bunch, or you want to be, just like training for speed with that one, I think, up close. Like, that's the only thing. So the TCRT definitely beats it on durability. For price, they're both basically $138, from what I saw. So there isn't really that price discount. TCRT offers kind of like a bunch of like target stands and swinging little dangles and stuff like that if you want it. I think Infinite Defense does the same thing now. They have a bunch of different targets out. So it's not just sheets of USPSA like when I bought things. TCRT Targets, while it's lighter, it doesn't have the weight. So it was easier to blow over in the wind is something else that I noticed. Now let's talk about why, do you even need these things? So originally I got Infinite Defense Targets because I wanted to try them. I thought they'd last longer than they did. They lasted a while, but it wasn't anything to write home about. And my buddy Tactical Santi brought it up to me, and he's like, why don't you just use cardboard? Like, it's everywhere, and it's probably free because of how much we get in Amazon and things like that. So the use case for these, I think, self-healing rubber targets is like I can just keep them in my truck. If it's raining like it is now, I don't have to worry about them getting wet. They're really they don't have issues with the elements, whereas cardboard, on the other hand, definitely has issues with the elements. Cardboard blows over easier. So if you're in a windy spot, like the heavier targets, as long as your stands are decent, they'll be fine. They're not going to catch, there's enough weight that they're not going to blow over the way that cardboard targets do. So it's just like they're durable, they're there, and they're not opposed to the elements. I'll say this. If you're already using like those sticker guns, or if you have a bunch of stickers and you're already using USPSA targets and you're covering up your hits with stickers and things like that, don't buy these things. They won't make sense to you. They're not going to add any value to you. Really, this is for more of the casual shooter who just wants to leave targets in a vehicle or a truck or something like that, or maybe out at their range. If they have a home range, you could just leave this out all night. Like, you don't have to worry about it raining. So that makes a lot of sense. If you got a home range, if you're in the elements, if it's windy, okay, maybe look into one of these self-healing targets. But if you have a sticker gun, if you're not going to leave the cardboard out there overnight, if you're not worried about rain getting into things, maybe you have an SUV and you can keep them in there and they're not going to get covered in water or anything like that, I think cardboard's better. To be honest, one of the things with the TCRT that it also does worse than the Infinite Defense Targets is seeing your shots. So TCRT is white for the most part on the USPSA. It's a white rubber. It comes white. So after you shoot it a few times, you can't really see where you hit. Like, it's harder to determine where you actually hit, especially if you got thousands of rounds through it, like I do. So you end up having to spray paint it. Once you spray paint it, like I said, you lose those markings, unless you have a stencil or something like that. And then at that point, now you're bringing a stencil to the range. Now you're bringing two different colors of spray paint. Now you're, it starts having, the return on investment really isn't there when you start getting into those things. So it works great for me to put stickers on for a backstop if I don't have cardboard or something like that. But the cardboard will actually help you see your hits easier. It's disposable. It's plentiful. And I think for the most part, cardboard should be good for most people. You can make a use case for these, but you're really splitting hairs at things, especially at $138. Did the TCRT Target last? Was it durable? Yes. It has no real chunks out of it at this point. Like, I can see little dots and lots of them from 9mm, and things like that, 300 blackout. But there's not chunks out of it like the infinite defense targets. So I think if you do buy a TCRT target, it will last, I would say, roughly 5 times. And that's just my estimate from my usage. 5 times longer than an infinite defense one, at least. The infinite defense one is easier to see your hits because it does have black rubber underneath, and you spray paint it white, and it's got the nice cutout so you can always see where the A zone, the C zone, and all that stuff are. So that's nice, but it's not going to last as long. It's heavy. Lugging it out, depending on how far you're carrying it, can be a pain, especially compared to cardboard. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that if you were considering this, buying one of these targets, it gave you a little more information on whether or not you should, if they're right for you. I'd like to thank Kurt for letting me know about TCRT targets. Even though I have beef with Infinite Defense, I still appreciate them as a company. They came out to Naughty After Dark both years I was there, and they did a great job with their targets there. They spray painted them like blacklight and stuff, and we shot at night. It was awesome. So I think they're both decent companies. I think they both offer decent products, but it's really or not whether or not you have the use case for them, if you should invest in them. So thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.